Well, good morning. Trucker Todd here, and time for another video. All right, folks, this ain't clickbait. You know what it is. If you drive any equipment long enough, it's eventually going to have mechanical issues. This truck was no different. I haven't driven it that long, been in it less than a month. But already it came up on its first repair, and spoiler alert, it's over $4,000, as you may have saw in the thumbnail of this video. So stick with me. I'm going to tell you what it was, how we got it fixed, and discuss the bill and all of that. I'm also going to be able to tell you a little bit more about the RE Garrison breakdown department. When I did my 30-day review, I was unable to do the review of the breakdown department because I hadn't had a breakdown. You might also ask, how was I able to do a 30-day review if I haven't had this truck for 30 days? It did take some time for them to find me a truck, about a week and a half. So the first week and a half I was employed with the company, I wasn't actually driving a truck. I was looking at a lot of trucks, but I wasn't driving any. And so we'll talk about all of that in this video. Before we do, you guys give this video a thumbs up, share it on your social media platforms, and make sure you're subscribed. After you hit subscribe, click that bell and select all. All of those things are free to do, and they really help the channel out. Also, I'll pin in the comments the recruiter's information. If you've got any questions about RE Garrison, feel free to reach out to me at todd@truckertodd.net, or to reach out to the recruiter and get your questions answered. Especially if I say something that sounds too good to be true, verify it with her, check it out with her. I have been here a little over 30 days, but I by far am not an expert on the company, and there's things I definitely don't know that I'm still learning, and you can get the answers straight from her, or I can share my experiences with you, which is my intent of this video. It's just to share the good and bad with you, my journey along the way. All right, enough about me, enough about all of this. Here's the music, and then we're gonna jump right in. Here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round, for my family and for my kids. For this life I wanna live, and this is why I do.
Alrighty, we're back. So I've got a load. It's going from Louisiana to Turlock, California, and it was a good load, one that I was excited to have. It was going to pass me through Lubbock. And originally I thought I was going to be able to take a 34 in Lubbock. There was a problem at the shipper. I think I talked about it in a previous video. And so I ended up getting paid detention for 2 days at $400 a day to sit at the truck stop and wait till the load was ready. Ended up not being ready till Monday afternoon. And so I got the load, I got to going, and I got a little ways past Dallas, and the check engine light came on. And I got to looking at it, and it was a code 3720. And I Googled the code. It was for the DPF system needing, the DPF filter needing an ash cleaning. And I read about it, and it said sometimes it would derate people. It would give you 200 miles to get to a shop. It would start derating, and then you'd be stuck. It wouldn't do any long-term damage to the engine unless you ran it that way for a while. So initial thinking was, I'll keep running it. I'll take this load to California, and then I'll get back to a terminal and get it done there. The reason I wanted to go to a terminal is I thought, well, it'll be faster, and you know, things like that. So I decided to keep running with it. And I got up past Lubbock and got up almost to I-40. I stopped to use the bathroom, and I always, anytime I get out of the truck, I do a walk around, see if there's any any new problems that have developed. Just done that out of habit over the years. And I heard an audible air leak behind the passenger side steer tire. Right there at the air dryer, felt underneath the air dryer, and it was just a pretty steady air leak. It wasn't affecting air pressure or nothing, but it was definitely leaking. And I thought, well, this ain't good. I'm going to California. If I can hear it, DOT can hear it. And this is something I need to get fixed. So I called Breakdown, and we'll talk about Breakdown. I'll give you my take on them here in a little bit. And I said, hey, I've got, and I misdiagnosed it. I said, I think I've got a check valve missing on the bottom of my air dryer. I said, it looks flat down there, like something's missing. I later Googled the part and looked at it, and there was not a part missing. It just what I was thinking. And I said, I'd like to stop at a TA or Love's or somewhere and get that fixed. And I said, I don't know if there's a preference between the two, but I've also got a code 3720 that's coming up for an ash cleaning on the DPF filters. And he's like, whoa, if you've got one of those, you need to go to Freightliner right now. And I was like, really? He said, yeah. He said, it could go into D-rate at any time. And he said, with the route you're going to be going, I'd hate for you to get stranded out in the middle of somewhere. And so by this point, the nearest Freightliner dealer is in Albuquerque. And he didn't tell me this that night, but they had some problems with that Albuquerque dealer, and it wasn't on their list of preferred places to stop, but because of the severity of the situation, they wanted me to go there. So they were going to close at I want to say 7 o'clock that night, and I wasn't going to be able to get there in time. So I ended up spending the night in Moriarty at the TA and getting up the next morning and being at the shop at 7 a.m. when they opened. And so they looked the truck over. I was there about 7 hours. And ultimately what we ended up doing was, since it wasn't going into D-rate or nothing, Breakdown along with me decided that we would do a regen on it and see if maybe it would temporarily fix it till we could get to one of the terminals and they could verify that indeed the DPF filters did need to be replaced. Now this truck had 321,000 miles on it. I believe it was at 320 at the time. And so we weren't, that's not typically a point where you would think the DPF filters would be bad. I mentioned before that a team had it before me. And so, you know, this truck didn't sit around and idle. It's got a 15-minute idle shut off anyway. So you can't really idle it more than 15 minutes anyway. They thought it was odd that the DPF filters would be bad at this point. The only thing I can think of is that prior to me getting the truck, it looks like at least 3 of the injectors were replaced, and maybe it ran rich for a while, and maybe that contributed to those DPF filters getting bad as quickly as they did. Either way, neither here nor there. We did that. I got about 60 miles down the road, and what do you know, that DPF ash cleaning light came back on, code 3720. They looked, and the next nearest place we could go was Velocity Truck Centers, which is the Freightliner dealer in Flagstaff. So we went to Flagstaff. Again, they closed at 5. I got there about 9 o'clock that night. Another guy showed up a little after 10 and took my load on to California for me so that it could be delivered on time. We repowered it there at Flagstaff. And at 7 a.m. the next morning, I go in there. And part I forgot to mention, when I'm in Albuquerque, they said, hey, Todd, nothing wrong with your air dryer. You're mistaken. I said, okay, because it doesn't do any good to argue with them at that point. So when I got to Flagstaff, I said, hey, my air dryer has an audible leak. If your tech can't hear it, I'll go out there and show it to them. But when you're idling, you can hear it. and you can stick your hand into there and feel it. And she said, okay, we'll check it out, and if he's got any questions, he'll call you. And anyway, they came to the same conclusion as Albuquerque, and it needed the DPF filters, and the air dryer needed basically a rebuild kit. So we got all that work done in Flagstaff, and I've driven the truck just a short distance. I'm over here at the truck stop now here in Flagstaff, and the truck's great now, seems to be great anyway. And let's talk about a few things. The Albuquerque Freightliner dealer, I tend to agree with RE Garrison on this one. They were definitely questionable on the air dryer. They were right on the DPF filters needing changing. So on the Velocity Truck Centers, which is the Freightliner dealer here in Flagstaff, A+. The service writer, she was amazing. Kept in good communication throughout the day. RE Garrison was great. I got fortunate, the lady that I gave I don't know how many people's in breakdown. I'm not going to say her name on here because I didn't get her permission. But the lady that helped me in breakdown at RE Garrison was awesome. I ended up getting her both times. There was a guy that answered too. He was great also. I did not get his name. But the reason I mentioned the lady is she also helped me in Flagstaff. I called her because I said, hey, Flagstaff asked me to call you. They said that if we get this approval pretty quick, we can have the truck out today. And she looked and she said, yeah, the lady that approves that is gone to lunch. She said, let me get up and go over and see if I can get somebody else to approve it, which I thought was amazing. For people outside of trucking that don't know, that's unusual. Usually companies will say, I'll send an email and somebody will get back to me eventually. And you sit there and wait. She got up from her desk, went and found somebody that could approve it. Had me on hold while she did. She didn't say, hey, Todd, I'll call you back. Came back on the phone, said, Todd, I got it approved. I'm sending over the email now. She said, if you'll walk up and tell the service writer to be looking for it, it should be there by the time you get over there. I said, wow, great, thank you. And so I walked up front. My service writer had gone to lunch. There was another one up there. He was also awesome. He went over, verified the email, and then got the parts and everything for the tech to go ahead and do the repair. I ended up being done by 2:30 that day. Now in Albuquerque, without fixing the air dryer, they had told me it was going to be about $4,400 plus tax and shop fees. My total bill at Flagstaff, fixing the air dryer with the rebuild kit, doing the DPF filters, everything was $4170.04. Now, another great thing about RE Garrison, the first 30 days, there's 5 components, and I'm not going to go over them here in this video. They'll go over it with you in orientation. It's like engine, transmission, rear end, and a couple other things. If they give you issues in the first 30 days, they'll take care of it. I got it verified with the head of the shop at Coleman that they're going to take care of this repair for me. So that's great. That's going to make a big difference. It wasn't something special they did for Trucker Todd. It's something special they'll do for you or anybody else that comes to work here. And I think it's awesome that the first 30 days they've got your back. And it definitely was a nice experience from people in the breakdown department that seemed like they cared, that were proactive and helpful, and that kept me in the loop, to a shop that was proactive and helpful and kept me in the loop. So all in all, I just couldn't have asked for a better experience. And I just want to say this. I saw on some other channels, I got sent some clips. I've never said that RE Garrison's perfect. I've never said that they don't have flaws. But what I've said is there's a lot of good people that work hard to try to do the right thing here. There's a lot of integrity here, and that I'm grateful to be working here at this point in time. And So you guys can take that for what it's worth. I'm not saying that it'll be perfect for you, or that there's not people out here that haven't had a bad experience here. I'm just saying at this point in my life, for what I was looking for and what I needed, it's working out well for me. And I'd be happy to discuss with you either through email or a phone call if it worked for you, and give you some advice and things like that. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. It's already longer than I anticipated it being. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Who knows, depending on what load I get in the morning, we may do a Friday night video, or I'll try to squeeze one in this weekend. Y'all take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.